I've been in the media communications business for 31 years, but particularly in the last probably 10 years, been spending a lot of time looking at digital signage. And of course, you're having the Digital Signage World third show here in Asia. So this is my third time attending, and it's very much a core area of my interest. And I work as a consultant in this space, trying to help companies who want to invest in digital signage so they can make wise decisions and maybe minimize the risk and maybe maximize their profit.
Right. So what are your thoughts on the digital signage scene in Asia?
Well, it's interesting. There's a lot happening. Particularly I spent time in China and India, and a lot of markets are doing a lot of things with digital signage. So it looks quite busy. It looks like this space is very active and growing. But at the same time, I think one of the problems in Asia is that a lot of the investors who are putting up digital signs are doing it in a token way. They're putting up one or two signs, testing it, just putting a toe in the water to see how things go. Whereas in some of the Western markets, there's a lot of much larger scale deployments, much more uniformly. So the US is still the biggest market for digital signage. China's catching up very fast as the second. But some of the other markets, interestingly, Thailand's quite active, but then neighboring with Thailand, Philippines is much less active than Thailand. So it varies across Asia, but I think there's a lot being done, but not so much large scale.
Right. So what are some challenges that retailers and brands face in digital signage adoption?
Well, the biggest challenge is content. Having this technology available is fine, but the technology relies on having quite good content that's been made especially for the signage and how it will be seen. And this takes a lot of time and effort and resources, and I think this is the biggest challenge that people face.
Okay, so how do you feel the trend of digital signage in retail will change over the years ahead?
Well, I saw a quote recently that someone said that in terms of retailers, it's almost like everyone will have to go this step. It's almost like it's a got to have, must have it. So I think the trend is there will obviously be more and more use of digital platforms in retail spaces, but then at the same time that brings with it some hurdles to deal with to get to that. But certainly the trend is certainly upward for more and more digital signage in retail.
Okay, so what are the top 3 digital signage case studies that you know of and admire about?
Well, when you ask people what are the memorable case studies, people tend to think of the very large formats like Times Square or Piccadilly Circus. And they think about these interactive games where McDonald's is there and you can interact from your phone with a giant billboard on a rooftop. These are the case studies that people remember. But I think some of the case studies I like much better are places like the London Underground, where they have small digital screens along the escalator, and they create an animated story that moves with you from screen to screen as you go on the elevator. It's quite clever. It was done for a number of brands. BMW Mini did it, and Coca-Cola has done it. Lots of different companies have done it. But also there was one recently with a charity which was had children who looked kind of homeless and underprivileged children, and they like banging on the window of the glass saying, help me, donate money for me on the escalator. So quite nice. Very clever use of the medium and very deliberate use of the medium.
Okay, so what advice would you give to companies who are looking to take on digital signage in the years ahead?
Research, measure it, figure out in advance what your spaces are and your audiences are, do a lot of study of what the opportunity is, and then spend the money and do it right. This is my best advice.
Okay, so how do you find the conference and exhibition so far?
I enjoyed it. It's interesting that there are so many kind of co-related, or sometimes not quite related, but lots of different channels going on here with the RFID, with the mobile, with retail and digital signage. And it is quite interesting. There does seem to be some synergies, although they each have their own shows. I was quite happy as well in the area where I was spending time, which was the retail and digital signage area. The seminar was quite full, almost all day. I was there for the first seminar in the morning, which I found very interesting. And so yes, it's been quite good. but it is lots of different things. So I think some people will come and think, well, I don't know anything about that. Why is that at the show? And so it's a lot going on, but I find that quite stimulating in many ways.
Okay, is this your first time to cards and retail world?
Well, yes, because it's the first time we've really pushed those bits together. So previously, it's the third time we've had Digital Signage World, but it's sitting in with retail and cards payment this time. So I hadn't been involved with those parts before. This is my first time to be involved with those parts.
Okay, then what spurred you to the event? And
I'm not a supplier, so I'm not looking for customers.
Okay.
So I'm not really here for networking. But in my business, we like to contribute. We like to collaborate and help people to do work. I don't know if you know, but I'm the South and Southeast Asia representative for the Digital Screen Media Association. And in that way, we kind of like to get involved with people and be helpful. So I've really come to the show more in that capacity rather than in my consulting role.